Oh my god! I gotta get fucking pumped. I gotta get fucking ready. I think I'm good.
It's a good intro.
Welcome, everybody, to Juice Pro Wrestling, episode 59, Divine Intervention. Tonight on this episode, we got a variety of fucking topics to kind of headline some of those. AEW this weekend, this Saturday, Double or Nothing, history-making event. It's going to be fucking off the hinges.
Oh, my God!
Look out! Ah! We have that. We got some WWE news. We got some video game news for you, some Xbox news, and potentially PS4. I don't know if it's on there or not because I don't play that, so fuck it. We're going to go over a classic 80s horror flick for you and some upcoming Black Label Pro events because we love our buddies at Black Label Pro. Shout out to Mikey and them. But starting things off first, some news, some WWE news.
What is it?
Sreten, I don't know if you know about this, but Brock Lesnar, he's a fucking man! Yeah!
What did he do?
Well, he came back. He came back unannounced at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
Tanner than ever before.
He's not tan.
Wasn't he tan?
He's
I saw
fucking-
a photo of him sitting on a ladder with
He's like red. He's fucking
redder than ever before.
yeah. He came back to a WWE pay-per-view Money in the Bank ladder match, which was, mind you, created by Chris Jericho. It was his brainchild. And he even tweeted about it, talking some shit on Twitter. So you guys on Twitter, which you can follow us at JPW Podcast, check it out. Look at Chris Jericho's tweets and see what the fuck I'm talking about. Brock comes back, right? Money in the Bank ladder match. I think it's like 6 guys. They climb the fucking ladder for a briefcase, which guarantees them a contract at either the Universal or the WWE champion anytime for a year. A lot of guys have cashed in and won. It's pretty much a given when you win that, although there have been, I think, 1 or 2 cases where it hasn't happened. But it's very rare. Anyways, the match, Brock Lesnar wasn't even advertised for the card, and then he shows up at the very end like one of our hometown Chicago native heroes, who you can also catch on the WWE Network. I was watching it last night. It's very cool, and shout out to our boys at Freelance Wrestling in Chicago. They were featured on the WWE Network special on Mustafa Ali, who is he was an ex-Chicago cop, I think for like 3 or 4 years, something like that. Was a big name in freelance, and look where he's at now. I mean, he's had a match for the WWE Championship. That's pretty fucking wild, you know? Like, you want to be in an A movie, here you go. And you don't have to be in Hollywood to be in great entertainment, you know? That solidifies you as a superstar right there. So shout out to him. It was a very well done documentary. I watched it last night. Killed it. Featured Freelance Wrestling. Super cool. From the region, you know, Midwest, man, where we're just killing it creatively on whether it's sports, music, art, any kind of entertainment. So Brock wins his contract, right? Mustafa's going to fucking grab the shit.
Yeah.
I can't even think right now. RVD 420.
Suitcase?
Whatever. The suitcase, right? The briefcase with all the goodies.
Yeah, the briefcase, not the suitcase.
He's going to grab it, and all of a sudden, Brock's music hits. Dun, 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 boom. He comes out and he fucking knocks Mustafa off the ladder and he wins. So if you didn't see that, spoiler alert, nobody expected it, and it's kind of like, what the fuck, you know? Here's how I see it. It's, you got to think the business. They're going to Fox in the fall.
Right.
I'm sure that Brock is one of the main draws. Like, Fox is like, hey, we want this guy in particular. It's probably in some write up somewhere. Storyline wise, everybody shits on WWE, and I agree 99.9% with a lot of it because it's really hard to watch. It's garbage. But I think in this situation, it kind of makes sense. But if Brock, he holds on to this title, what I hear is that he's going to end up fighting Goldberg again, which this is also a good segue and another thing I want to talk about, and becoming like they want to end the brand split, is what I hear from Fox. Doesn't want a brand split. Like when
What's
they
a brand
say,
split?
Well, right now Raw is supposed to be like Raw.
Oh,
okay?
got it. Yeah. The two shows.
Yeah, two different shows, but it's supposed to act like two different companies, and it never has worked for me. You can never within yourself. I mean, I'm sure there is a way of booking that you could do that, but like when they acquire ECW and WCW, as opposed to just like, okay, we own these, now let's just own them and fund them and have the niche, and we'll just collect the paychecks from it.
Right.
It's like, no, fuck that. WCW is done. ECW is done. We're gonna bring Raw is essentially WWE and SmackDown's WCW. To create, you can't create. To me, you cannot create like a war, a good creative spark within yourself like that when you're that huge. That's almost like the guy selling out that, like, how are you gonna play the blues anymore when you're fucking rich and happy?
Right.
You can't do it. That's what it seems like to me. So that's why the brand split has never fucking worked. But that's what Fox kind of wants it to be one thing. If they're gonna have SmackDown, they want access to Raw and maybe even NXT superstars, whoever they want. That's why they're forking out these millions of dollars, whatever the TV deal is. They want it to be presented more like a sports thing as opposed to what it is now,
right?
Which is just, it's overdone. I can't even. I'm not going to go there and put myself in those levels, those depths as most of you haters out there. Because at the end of the day, I still do love WWE, but I'm just so fed up, I did it in the 90s too, and I went WCW, so fuck it. It happens. It's about goddamn time. Brock wins this. Everybody's pissed off, and then the story is that Goldberg, who is fighting The Undertaker at this next Saudi Arabia show coming up for them,
right?
It's huge.
Yeah.
Like, that's a dream match. That's something that all these kids playing 2K19 or whatever they're on right now are like having that match. Somebody's had to have done it. Fuck, I've done it on my Nintendo 64, No Mercy, for like 15 years now.
Yeah.
It's super huge, but a lot of people are shitting on it because it's, two old guys that, Goldberg's good for those short matches. Yeah. But there is that marquee still, in my opinion. There's that draw. I'm interested. Like, can you sit here and honestly tell me right now that doesn't, even given their age and whatever, that announcement isn't somewhat intriguing to you? Whether you're paying for it to watch it or not. You know what I'm saying? You will still watch it. It's going to bring your attention. I don't give a fuck if you see the clip on YouTube,
I thought about it this way when I saw the photograph online. They had the picture of Goldberg and The Undertaker, and I was like, oh, man, I remember the WrestleMania match from, like, I think it was 3 years ago now, maybe 3 years ago, I think, where The Undertaker had a match, and that shit lasted like 45 minutes, and most of it was them on the ground, him on the ground, and you're like, catching their breath on film. Like,
but you won't get that with Goldberg.
You won't get that with Goldberg. The thing that I was thinking about that, but then they kind of sort of do that with a lot of the matches anyways. So it's not an Undertaker. Can you still, have these super long matches? They kind of, it's my issue with WWE is, so they talk a lot.
They do
on mic.
It's a lot,
awful lot. But then on top of that, they have these super long matches where it's not high flying stuff. It's not them smashing. It's the
audience is ADD anymore, and this goes. It kind of disgruntles me in a way because it goes in any platform, I think, of entertainment. Where that's why I'm glad I'm in a fucking grind band, because we're just fast and heavy and sporadic anyway. So that ADD, the 5-second attention span's there, But like, this is where I think Vince is out of touch with his programming too. People are, if you're at a wrestling show, and I don't give a fuck if you're bored for 1 second, people are on their phones.
Yeah,
that goes for anything, like movies, fucking music, like. The way people consume any form of entertainment or media now, in my opinion, it's just like anybody could really give a fuck, which is kind of super annoying because it's any form of media essentially is an art,
Right.
These are artists that, and I've always considered myself to be an artist since I was a little kid in any way where it's audio, visual.
That's why you wear those berets.
Yeah.
Did someone say ballet?
Oh shit, Andre.
That's not fair. I can't prompt myself. Gotta go.
later, dude.
But yeah, since you were a kid,
it just really pisses me off because like interact, do so. But it is the reality of it. That's just people consume so much media. There's so much out there, and they even with shit they like, it's like, oh, I could give a fuck because if it ain't grabbing them right now. And anyways, my whole point of this is with WWE, with those matches, it's hard to put on like an 80s Hogan, Andre match, or even like
attention spans are different. You're right.
Yeah, the business has evolved to the point where, and there's a lot of old school guys in the biz that hate on it, but it's evolved to where we want to see that action. We want to see the wrestling. Like, we know what it is, but we want to see this death-defying shit. And there's a lot of people in the presentation in the game now that
can bring it.
And I'm super excited about like AEW and the OWE, the Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, or whatever they're called. They do so much crazy shit. And yeah, it is flippity whatever. And there's even like some fucking dance shit involved in what they do. I just saw one of their promotions, and it's fucking crazy, but it's good entertainment, And I think it's stuff that can actually hold your attention span because the way it's presented. Yeah. Where WWE, it's such like a goddamn bore right now.
I think it's the way it's presented. But have you listened to some of the interviews with JR? Like, by God, somebody said barbecue, by God, Austin, steel chair, rattlesnake, pinata.
Yes,
I watched a short conversation with him, and he was on Stone Cold's podcast.
Yeah,
and I listened to a short conversation. They were just talking about the psychology of the business.
Yeah,
and how like different people act a different way, and how certain rules have changed. And they were talking about stuff that honestly was over my head. Mm-hmm. Even though they were just talking about the terminology they were using was there was a lot of shorthand between the two of them conversationally.
Short strokes.
But I don't know. I feel like a guy like JR still understands how you can there's in the ADD world of the audience, I still think you can
still tell a good story.
Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what wrestling is.
Leave their phone alone for a little bit.
Well, yeah, and look at the Young Bucks. That's why they're so fucking great.
Yeah.
And people want to hate on them because they are fucking the WWE marks or whatever. They just want to hate because I'm going to fucking say it here. I'm sure you've heard it other places, but yeah, exclusive. People fucking suck for the most part, and that's a sad thing. There's so much negativity and so much bullshit going on in the world that like everybody wants to shit on something, and most of the time without a valid reason. I mean, something's bad, it's bad. Oh, all right, great, that's everybody's opinion. But I think there's a lot of things in life that generally 99% of people, if it's really bad or out of taste, can agree on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just not that anymore. It's like the percentile is like, I don't care if it's good, I don't care if it's bad. I'm going to fucking show you, and I'm going to go fucking nuts. Well, I'm here to cut you motherfuckers off.
Didn't you have a conversation with somebody at a grocery store or something about you were wearing a shirt? Who the hell did I have that conversation with?
What shirt?
Like you were wearing something and somebody, was it you? And somebody,
my penis cutting deterioration shirt?
No, something about either Warrior or some other wrestling promotion they were about to check out, and the person was like a WWE person. They were like, "Oh, you're into this? Who the hell was it?"
Oh, no. That was in the JP Woo, which is our Facebook group. You guys can check it out. Juice Pro Wrestling Universe. No, that was Ratface.
Oh.
He had a hat on. It said wrestling. It was spelled out wrestling. It's a group independent. I don't know what it's associated with, to be honest. So check out Derek Martha from Minimum. Sorry, I love you, Derek. From Minimum Wage Assassins, which by the time you've heard this, we've already rocked the fuck out at Reggie's with Handsome Prick and Cloud Rat. Check out his story in the Juice Pro Wrestling Universe Facebook group. He's talking about he's wearing this hat. Wrestling is spelled without the E, and it says like we don't give a fuck about the E or something along those lines. And he ran into a WWE mark fanboy. And which those are like the worst people. I love WWE, but I'm not going to sit there and defend it when it's fucking awful,
Yeah.
And so he's freaking out. AEW's just a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. Like, talking all this smack. It's like, dude, you don't even know. Like, are you a wrestling fan or what? Like, you're fucking retarded.
What are you defending? Yeah.
Yeah, what are you defending? So there's a good little story in the Juice Pro Wrestling Universe. Check that shit out. Yeah, man, it's just, I don't know, dude. The whole Goldberg Undertaker thing, getting back to that, though, I think there's a place for it. It's cool. It's still entertaining. I liked Goldberg's run when he came back a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And
he looks good.
He looks good.
Yeah.
Let him do it, whatever.
Undertaker lost a little weight, and he's been wrestling.
Yeah, but Taker he can still go, but it's like,
Yeah.
He's getting at that point where it's like, he's obviously not who he was.
Right.
Not to take anything away from him, because, still that, I guess, that aura and that presentation of him coming out and his entrance, it is still cool, but it's like, come on, man. I've seen you, me and Mark Calloway now doing the church, shtick and all that. And nothing against that, but it's like, come on. It's just like, now he's one of those guys that like protected kayfabe,
Yeah.
And now he's just not the Undertaker. He's the guy that plays the Undertaker. So it's kind of a weird thing. But he's also slowed down the ring, which, hey, it happens to all of us. So I can't hate on that, but do I want to see it? Maybe not so much, but I'll still watch it.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my argument. For all you people that say you don't want to see it, you're going to watch it. You're going to be sneaking that shit in the bathroom while you're taking a doll. Like, hey, I know I was talking a lot of shit, but I think I'm going to check this out. Yeah. Another thing with WWE, real quick, and then we can kind of get off of that. On Monday Night Raw, they introduced the 24/7 title, which essentially is a throwback kind of to the hardcore title of the Attitude Era, whereas it can be defended anywhere, anytime, as long as there's a ref. So it gives way to a lot of good writing, and they're like talking about how Mick Foley comes out with the belt.
I always like that.
Yeah. It makes for some good shit, and it's kind of Joey Ryan was doing it a couple of years ago on YouTube with the DDT Pro. It was the heavy metal weight championship or something like that, and he beat everybody, and there was like all kinds of weird scenarios where his ex-tag partner beat him in his dream or something. They had a dream and he lost the title, and he like legit lost it. Good comedy, whatever stuff. And I think that's what WWE is trying to do right now, is kind of capture on that. Although the DDT Pro stuff was a little bit further evolution of the comedy they were riding with the hardcore title back in the day, the 24/7 shit. But I think they executed so well. It was so entertaining what Joey Ryan was doing. Yeah. And now WWE has the opportunity to do that. And yeah, I think there's a place. Do I really care for it? No, but I'll be a liar if I didn't love R-Truth's tweet. He ends up being the one after. So Mick Foley comes out there, before I get ahead of myself, comes out on Monday Night Raw, and he's either going to fucking sink or swim. And Foley's a professional, man. He was standing in a sea of fucking booze when they unveiled this Booger Green fucking Booger Green. I didn't say Booker T, I said Booger Green. Title, this 24/7 championship, and it's so cheaply made. And the weird thing is, it does look like a throwback to like the old WWF Vince Sr.'s promotion when Hogan was first champion. Yeah. When he won it from the Sheik, that green belt. It was like the big circle gold plating and all the name tags on the side, right?
Booger Green.
Booger Green. It looks like Booger Green. Good Lord, it's Booger Green. I think it's kind of a throwback to that. It may not be, but it's very reminiscent of that, except the design on it, it's horrible. It just says like 24/7 champion on it. The side plates are just blank, like gold plates. There's nothing. There's like not even a design. Like maybe up in the upper left-hand corner, there's like 2 lines, and the
nope.
There's nothing. It looks like shit, So Foley pulls it out of the bag, dude, and the crowd's just shitting on it immediately. Boo! And it's so weird because I watched it, not necessarily live, but I did see someone on YouTube that had it and had as it happened and recorded it.
Yeah.
And it's a sea of booze. And then like I rewatch when WWE, chops it up and puts it on the YouTube clip, and it's just like, yeah, you could still hear some faint boos, but it was just like the crowd wasn't very interactive. And they were. When that shit came out, it was stanky. Booger Green, God, so he tries to hype it the best he can. He does a good job talking about how it can be defended 24/7, anywhere, anytime. And the one thing that is actually kind of cool about it, it's whether you're on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK, 205 Live, anybody can do it. But now it's a title that ain't going to mean shit. Someone was on Twitter talking today about, will it ever have prestige? Or like, no, it's a joke title that's feeding the storyline, you know? Yeah. Essentially, it's wrestling, so whatever, like, what are any of the titles? But That's one thing I like with AEW, how they're going to make it. Championships are going to be important. Wins and losses are going to be important.
Yeah.
Like, it's legit, you know?
New system.
Yeah. Because this old shit's played out, man. I mean, R-Truth. So, Foley leaves the fucking title. You know, he says it could be defended against anybody on any platform, any of their shows, anywhere, anytime. Leaves it in the title, in the ring. The first guy that comes out and gets it is the inaugural champion. So that happens. It ends up being Titus O'Neil. Hoorah, 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 hoorah. That fucking guy. The guy who likes to slide under the ring and in your DMs when you're not looking. He wins it, and then out comes Robert Roode, a.k.a. Bobby Roode. Now he wants to be known as Robert Roode. He's got a mustache. They should, man, I'll tell you where they fucked up on that real quick. So I don't know if maybe you don't remember. It was somewhat recent, past year or so. I don't know if we were doing this show yet or not, but when Kurt Angle's son was announced as Jason Jordan, black guy from Indianapolis, and it was like, you totally knew, and it wasn't his kid. And it's like, that's bad. Uh-huh. You know, like, come on, we know what wrestling is, but that's just, come on. It's insulting the fans' intelligence. Yeah. So Jason Jordan is Kurt Angle's son, you know. Why the fuck, if they're going to do a shitty storyline like that, they should have at least been like, Robert Roode is the son of Ravishing Rick Rude, and give him kind of that rub, and maybe he's that cocky, not saying he is Rick Rude, but he has the look. Right. He has the name. Right. And it makes sense. Like, if you go back to WCW in the 90s when Paul White, a.k.a. The Big Show, a.k.a. The Giant, was introduced, right? He was the son of Andre the Giant, and me being that, however old I was at the fucking time, 11 or whatever.
You're like, what?
It was believable, too, because you look at him.
Because he's huge.
He's fucking giant, you know?
Yeah. Similar body type.
Yeah, and I think that would have played out good with Robert Roode as opposed to the Jason Jordan, Kurt Angle shit. Like, they just ruined fucking Jason Jordan's career, and then he got hurt, so he may never wrestle again. I don't know. You know, we haven't seen him for a long time. Last I heard, he was a backstage producer or something. I don't know. But getting off of that, back on the 24/7, man, it's just some whack-ass shit. Booger Green, man. I do like the promos. I've seen those. So Robert Roode wins this title, and then he goes in the back. And this is what I'm talking about, the possibility for like almost like sketch comedy and skits for them. It's endless with this shit.
Yeah.
But then again, how long is the audience, going back to what we were saying earlier, willing to put up with it? Like ADD. I fucking had enough of this skit, you know, this shtick, this chutzpah. Excuse me, I got to wet my throat. So Robert Roode is running from like the entire jobber locker room on Monday Night Raw. Yeah. Because he has the title, and obviously if they fucking beat him, right, you know, they're the champ. And he runs past R-Truth. He's got a car, and he's like, yeah, jump in the trunk. It's like, they won't find you. So he does it. And they run past, and R-Truth's like, it went that way. And they're like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, and they all go running. He opens up the trunk and says, hey, man, come here. They're gone. As soon as he gets out and walks around, all of a sudden the referee just casually gets out the passenger side of the door. He's like, what? R-Truth beats him for the title. And then he starts calling it the European Championship. And I love it. And he's hiding. He posted a video on Twitter today where he's like in the woods or something. He's like, I'm in the middle of nowhere because I can't trust anybody except for, what do you say? Like, either he can't trust anybody or no one needs to get a hold of him or do something unless it's like his kids or his wife or little Jimmy. You know, like, he ain't telling anybody where he's at. That shit I thought was funny. Is like, I'm going to be taking the European Championship, which can be defended 24/7 on SmackDown. There's some good comedy shit out of that. Yeah. And I think R-Truth is, unfortunately, because he's a hell of an athlete too, and he's got to be damn near 50, and he doesn't even look it. Yeah, I know. Right. I think he's definitely in his mid-40s. You guys have to Google that, but R-Truth is killing it on that aspect, and that is, to me, the only light at the end of the tunnel for that whole situation. It gives a lot of guys a chance. It kind of spices up potentially maybe the third hour of Raw, because that's a lot to sit through, and we'll have to see what happens. I think it would have been a cooler idea had it not been on the main shows. Like, say it was either just a YouTube thing, much like fucking Joey Ryan did. He doesn't have a network, you know. They did the whole Iron Heavy Metalweight Champion 24/7 shit all on YouTube.
Yeah.
It was a fucking hit. It was great. So that's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, I think it'll be because that's during the Attitude Era. I didn't watch. That's the only thing I liked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of garbage, you know.
Yes.
A lot of garbage with that. So whatever. Moving on. I was talking about AEW Double or Nothing. It's going to be Saturday, and it's fucking. This is historic. Also, the announcement that wrestling is coming back to fucking Turner Network, dude. I love it, dude. And I just found this out too. I didn't know Ted was apparently he's like dying pretty much.
Is he?
That's what I hear.
There. He's in his
like
80s
dementia or something.
Is that right?
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I know it sucks to hear. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know, Ted always was a huge supporter of the wrestling business, and look what he brought us in the '90s. It was great to have wrestling on Turner Network. Like, imagine being those guys. Nick and Matt Jack, that's like us sitting we have this dream of doing this show or doing whatever we fucking do.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just blows up. Like, you're doing something right.
Right.
Those guys, I guarantee, like, to me, it's such a natural feeling that, like, hey, we're just doing something we love, and it caught on.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. And look what they're doing now, rubbing elbows with, like, Shaq and all the execs at Turner, like, and bringing wrestling back for the first time in almost fucking 2 decades.
Yeah.
To Turner Network Television. And there is legit now a threat to WWE as far as viewership goes, Whether people want to believe it or not, the hype is real, dude, and we'll see what happens,
Yeah, it's gonna bring me back.
Yeah.
I'm looking at how to watch TNT now. Like and I haven't done that other than for basketball. Like
exactly. Since I remember the day it happened, man. I watched that last Nitro and I was like heartbroken. And the year I graduated high school too, it was like, this is what I got to remember,
Yeah.
Because I'm such a huge wrestling dork that always sticks with me as like D-Day for fucking wrestling or something. Like, oh God. But it's great, man. It's like the revenge of WCW is what it feels like to me, especially with Dusty Rhodes' son, pretty much one of the spearheads.
Storyline for it is fantastic.
Yeah,
and everybody,
dude.
it's crazy. They don't. I mean, they keep getting more people involved, but that core 4, I guess, or would you say more?
From what I consider the core of AEW would be Tony Khan is number 1 because this was his idea.
So probably like 6 or 7 people.
Yeah,
right,
and then
so
there's
Tony
the
Khan.
Bucks, Cody, and then Kenny.
Yeah,
those are the main dudes.
Would you put
maybe JR too?
Okay. Sorry, I'm about to throw up.
That's all right. I watched a Tony Khan interview with Chris Van Vliet. I
did too.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah,
so I'm kind of pumped on it.
But that same energy, like that same energy from back in the day. What I was gonna say, I got my train of thought right before I threw up. Was whatever they are doing, they so far have not made any missteps, either with their storytelling, either with like engaging audience, because there's like the marks have their interpretation of things, the haters, the lovers. They
I like
take
how you
jabs.
say the marks, like you're fucking reading the Cop Killer, Charlton Heston, like the marks and.
I'm trying to use the terminology. I'm trying.
Yeah, I like it.
But they don't seem to, like, every week, even when Being the Elite comes out, the stuff that they address, the world building that they continue with.
And they utilize the shit that fires against them, like when people like they're just a t-shirt company, and then it's including the storyline. We don't know how to run a business. They're just offering millions of dollars.
Yeah.
like
every single thing, and
it's
then
great.
Like with the what do you call it? The dude from Southern California, help me out.
Oh, which one? There's 3 of them. Scorpio Sky,
all 3 of them.
Christopher Daniels.
The kind of like the way that they're
SCU.
writing those guys, SCU guys, like how the money's getting to them. They don't have time for shit.
Yeah.
That whole thing, like every single character. And then also the seeds that they're planting for like rivalries amongst friends, sprinkling in stuff with the brothers, with the Bucks, like everything. They have not made a misstep yet. It's eventual. There's going to be stuff that people are going to be like, I don't like this.
Right.
But storytelling in wrestling, part of what's fun is that it can be fluid. Like you can go back and forth. You can be a heel and then you could be a hero. You can be like,
because that's life. Anybody can. Everybody has good days and bad days.
Absolutely.
Some days I wake up and I'm an absolute heel. I'm like Zeke heel, But there's other days where I wake up and I'm a beautiful flower and I'm a friendly little Jesus man.
Yeah. And it's so far so good, man. Like, and what it does is also opens the door to the opportunity that WWE is going to step up their game.
Yeah.
It also like it as a weird parallel is all these smaller promotions that are doing awesome shit too.
And yeah, independent wrestling it's bigger than it's ever been, dude. And it's really the reason why all this shit exists. Is let's give independent wrestling a round of applause. Can we get it?
I keep telling you about. So the last couple of years, I've done tiny bit of traveling, and I went to Europe last year, and I told you about how
just
I saw
a tiny bit. I mean, I went to Michigan. This motherfucker was Europe.
I was in Texas last weekend, and I had a conversation with someone that doesn't is so far away from pro wrestling. It's crazy, and she's young. I want to say she's 21, 22, but she's in the social media world. She does that for a living. She went to school for it, all that stuff. And we had a conversation real quick because, I have the stuff that I'd like to have conversations about that because it is a mystery to me still. Yeah. And it's such a part of everyone's life.
Yeah.
It's part of what contributes to all of our ADD. Anyways.
I'm a family.
But I mentioned something about, I talked about the podcast that we do, and I talk about all this other stuff and content creation and we were talking about Austin and the Austin culture and all that stuff. Yeah. And
what are you talking about me, some bitch?
And she started laughing when I mentioned pro wrestling. She's like, that's crazy that you're talking about pro wrestling. She's like, it's been lately, over the last couple months, it's been around me. People have been mentioning it more and more. And I told her, listen, man,
it's coming.
It's coming. It's going to be a part of pop culture in a big bad way once again. Yeah.
I remember 20 years ago, dude, you get your TV guide, and you had The Rock, Stone Cold, Goldberg, and Hollywood Hogan, the two rival promotions back then. Back then, motherfuckers may or may not understand that, dude, Nitro and Raw were doing ratings that were quadrupling fucking Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
Back then. That's unprecedented,
That was before basketball was big TNT exclusive. They didn't have Charles Barkley and those guys doing stuff. Those guys are still playing.
Somebody said Charles Barkley.
Yeah, but they had wrestling was you got
it was
basic
everywhere,
cable.
dude.
You had MTV, and then you had hey, what channel is wrestling going to be on?
Well, you would
those
see
channels.
Yeah, you would see wrestling and wrestlers on MTV, and then the wrestlers were on the Tonight shows, all the late night talk shows. They were on fucking comedy shows.
Yeah.
They were everywhere in media. And now that in this day and age where media is just at everybody's fucking fingertips and content creation is, as quick as a cheap hooker, it's is that a bad analogy?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're real quick. It's fucking crazy to see what it's gonna be, but it's definitely gonna blow up again.
It's exciting because it seems to be in the right hands.
Yes, exactly. With AEW and everybody they've brought on board, man, it's fucking amazing. And you watch that Tony Khan interview, dude, he is not to be taken lightly. That guy is a fucking machine when it comes to numbers. And I don't give he's got the Jacksonville Jaguars. So fucking what? Guess what? He's got the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do you got, bitch? Sorry, I'm not marking out, but maybe I am. But it's a respect thing, dude. The guy was a fucking fanboy, and he took his family's fortune and not just invested like Dixie Carter did. It was I like wrestling. I want to have a promotion and just buy whatever. This shit is being strategically planned with some quality people that could tell good stories. Yeah. And not only that, fucking put on shit in the ring like nobody's ever seen.
Right.
And shit that will grab your attention. Like when I was watching All In, I couldn't leave. I couldn't take a piss, I got to because I'm drinking a lot of beer. But I'm so fucking stoked for Double or Nothing. I don't know where I'm gonna be watching it yet. So
why not be excited? This whole thing has the potential to be another new thing that could be super fun in your life.
Yeah,
that's not like Game of Thrones is over. There's gonna be a hole in your heart now.
Yeah, wrestling's never over. It's never went away.
It just could be. It has a potential to be another super, just something that you could get on board and have fun with.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in the climate of today, where everything is Like you want to fight about anything. Everything feels so serious. Yeah.
Hey, you stupid fuck. You listening to Juice Pro Wrestling?
You fucking looking better be.
You fucking better be, because if you're not, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, AEW, dude. I can't believe it's here. Like this, it's insane. The card they have, you can check them out. AEW's all Elite Wrestling. They're all over Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, all that shit. So you guys can grab the card. I'm not gonna waste your time and run that down. It is stacked. I don't know exactly what I'm looking to see more. I'm really pumped about Jericho Omega 2, the Lucha Bros, and the Young Bucks for the AAA Tag Championship. That it's going to be insane. The Casino Battle Royale is going to be fucking insane.
I hate to beat a dead horse, but I do want to say even one more thing.
Yeah.
The TNT show doesn't start until fall.
Right.
This
same time around when
AEW's second event.
Yeah,
they still haven't they character build around being the Elite. They character build around like social media stuff, but they haven't actually had proper. Like, imagine how these characters are going to be built when you get a couple hours every week with them on top of all the other stuff.
Right.
It really is exciting, and even the event in a few days, like that's going to be like it's just what they've built is real special, and it's real fun.
And they're not giving you. It is a lot. It's not. I'm not gonna say a lot. It's content that has just been consistent and has been fucking good.
Right.
Much like the JP Dub. That's what's cool with people. Who's to say when they go on TNT in the fall, maybe we don't get a 2-hour show. You know, much like Lucha Underground was great because of the content. And dude, I will always give props to that fucking show because they're a huge part, I really believe, of like the indie boom and like just wrestling interest as a whole and presentation. You know, they gave a platform for motherfuckers to pick like vultures from and then kind of warp into their own shit.
Right.
And it's succeeded for people. So there you go. But they may only do an hour-long episode. AEW, and I'm fine with that because, like I said, that's why Lucha was so special, because it was there and it was done, and you just felt like, wow, you have to be left wanting more. You know, as any consumer, you want that, and then as any content provider or motherfucker trying to make a buck off you, that's what you want too. Right. You know, you don't want to just give them blow your whole fucking wad,
right?
Because then you're going to sleep. I don't care what situation in life that is. That's just fucking true, you know?
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen? But I think it's, I don't know. I can't even give you, I'm just super excited. No, it's not that I'm stumbling on my words. It's you really can't.
Yeah.
Because they're doing everything great.
Yeah.
And I think they got a great crew. They've hired a lot of They got Jerry Lynn as a trainer. They got, Billy Gunn's one of the trainers, producers. They got Jim Ross, another great mind for the business that's helping them. And man, dude, it's going to be fucking something special, dude. We're going to be doing a lot of coverage on that shit.
Yeah.
So get ready for those wars to come back. Moving on into some somewhat sad news. I ain't going to spend too much time on this. And I might get some flack for what I'm about to say about it. But hey, controversy. Does it create cash? I haven't seen any. So, if you'd like to give me some.
We're waiting!
Yeah. Call that voicemail, too, at 1-872-267-4199.
Yeah, get in on this conversation.
1-872-267-4199. Get it wet. Ashley Massaro, WWE Diva. I think, was she a former Divas champion, women's champion, whatever? She's one of the two. My whole point is, and as a human being, I'm not shitting on this because she, from what I heard, she was a mother, obviously somebody's daughter. As a human, it sucks. Sad to announce she passed away at 39. As far as her impact on the biz, and this is no direct knock to any of her or any of her friends, but it's just like there was no impact. It was like, yeah, she died, but what did she do in the wrestling business? Because she was in there at a time where it's just like, hey, man, she posed for Playboy. She wasn't a great wrestler. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. People can fucking strike me down right now. That sucks, and it sucks that she's passed. And I've heard that it was depression or suicide, so that makes it even worse. Because that just proves once again you never know who's fucking struggling. I don't know. It was weird. It was out of the blue, but as far as like, I don't think she's a Hall of Famer. I don't know. Maybe I'm being weird for even saying that, but it was like, oh man, you know,
It's still tragic. Yeah,
it is tragic.
Yeah,
But wrestling wise, I'm saying like just all the character and the ring work, it wasn't there.
yeah.
So I just wanted to put my 2 cents on that. Freelance Wrestling, as we were alluding to earlier in the show when we were talking about that Mustafa Ali special on WWE Network, unveiled the Legacy title, which you guys will see as a picture in the promo for this week's episode. It is a badass belt, dude. And this is totally going the opposite way of the Booger Green belt from WWE. Dude, it's got their logo, which is a fucking awesome skull. I really dig these guys. Their whole, if you go follow them on Twitter, I think it's pretty much anywhere, but I know on Twitter, their description is like wrestling punk rock party. It's like everything I fucking love. So, sign me up!
That's the 3 of the 4 things you love.
Yeah.
Number 4 is booty.
Yeah, I was going to say, sex! Yeah, but this title, and shout out to Val Capone, if you're out there listening, Val, we love you on the JP Dub, unveiled this title at Freelance. Dude, it's got like a circular design, almost kind of like the WWE tag belts, like how those are done, and even, unfortunately, the shitty green booger belt, just as far as the shape of the belt.
Yeah.
But it's a blue belt, blue strap, and it's got the logo with the skull and Freelance Legacy on it. It's very color. I like the color scheme. It's very like Chicago-y, but it looks fucking badass. It looks like bougie as fuck, but like hard as shit. You know, like I'm gonna wear this on my shoulder wherever I walk around, type deal.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be the first champion will be crowned next month in the month of June. So you guys will have to keep up with Freelance on Instagram and Twitter, Facebook, all that shit. I believe even on YouTube. So check them out and where you can see this title belt be defended. I fucking love it, dude. I do. I like it a lot. Other than that, we got some upcoming Black Label Pro events. June 1st, we have There's Something About Barry, which is basically a seminar with Barry Windham, giving his expertise. So any of you guys out there looking, I don't care who you are, if you're looking to get in the business as a wrestler, a ref, or whatever, he's a great mind to learn from. They also have a Ricky the Dragon Steamboat event coming up. I believe that one's in the month of July. One of my favorites. Again, a guy that, if you're anywhere in the wrestling business, fucking go and learn from these guys. I mean, imagine the stories they got anyway. Hit up blpwrestling.com. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well to get tickets for these upcoming events and all the latest news, because I just don't have the time to unleash everything for you. Oh, but as I'm reading right now, this is actually breaking news. 2 minutes ago on Facebook, Freelance Wrestling, proud to announce our 5th anniversary, Freelance vs. the World 5, featuring the crowning of the first ever Freelance Legacy champion. Nice. This is no joke, folks. This is actually fucking happening. Friday, June 14th, 2019. Doors open at 8, shows at 9. Tickets available now at freelancewrestling.com. You don't want to miss on that shit. I'm so glad that just popped up. Again, social media. You know, I'm also looking at MLW in Milwaukee. Austin Aries is going to be debuting there. So I'm going to get off that now and kind of stick to the platform I had laid. I want to go into some cheesy 80s horror, if I may. Are you down for that?
I'm down.
All right, okay. First of all, do you have Shudder?
I don't. I've used your login before.
Oh, yeah. Feel free to continue to do so. It's like I'm grandfathered in at like $5. So yeah, it ain't nothing. I watched a movie that I came across through my drummer, Brad Vanderzee, called Street Trash. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen this movie?
No, I've never heard of it.
It was weird. And I watched it on Shudder through a show that I fucking absolutely love, The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs.
I don't know that one either.
I was a huge Joe Bob Briggs guy growing up when Monster Vision and all that shit, like USA.
Yeah.
It's super cool. Every Friday he shows 2 movies, and he does this thing where he talks about them and gives you all the shit that happens. It's super entertaining. Like, and I'd love to watch that instead of fucking commercials. But anyway, this past Friday he had The Stuff. Excuse me, I got to wet myself up.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger got drop kicked too. Did you see that in South Africa?
Maybe he's so mad.
I know, but he barely moved. It's like a flea, you know. And then some big dude whipped this kid's ass. Probably
leave him alone.
First Brett, now Arnold. Who's next?
I got 72.
So going back to Street Trash, this movie, it's one of those old 80s. They call them like melt horror movies. Where
melt?
Yeah, melt. Like
things.
Have you seen the stuff?
No,
you haven't seen the stuff either. Okay, yeah. So to give you an example, like in Evil Dead, where at the end, how they all rot and it like melts and all the different colors, shit like that.
Yeah.
There were actually like movies in the 80s that was kind of like a sub horror genre, you know.
Shit.
Melt movies. So essentially the storyline of Street Trash, I don't know if it's New York or where it's based, but it's like all homeless for the most part.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit I can't tell you on this show that happens that is inappropriate and people might judge, but whatever. It's all fiction in this movie.
Yeah.
My sick mind finds it entertaining and funny. Anyways, you have to check it out for yourself. The whole premise is it's based around this liquor store owner who like finds this fucking in the walls, like somehow he just goes digging in the walls. He finds like this big treasure chest of booze, like little pints.
Yeah.
And he pulls out and it's this shit called Viper. It's like, fuck it. You know, it's got these homeless people coming into my liquor store, fucking shit up and stealing whatever. He puts it out there for $1. Well, the first guy gets it. He fucking drinks it. And dude, he just instantly like fucking starts melting, and it's all these crazy colors and shit. But it's gory, man. It's super fucking awesome. Like almost like Lucio Fulci type fucking melt and gore. Like, but it's like with a lot of colors, you know.
Right.
There's one bum that sits on this fucking toilet and ends up flushing himself as he's melting, dude. It's just like, it's crazy, man.
Is
God, and there's so much. There's like this homeless Vietnam vet guy he carries around like a piece of bone that's like sharpened, and he's just, dude, I can't even say this stuff on air. What they do, it's fucked up.
Yeah,
but it's basically like a horror comedy. It's not to be taken seriously, you know. It's a lot of people melting, and I'm a mark for melting. I can't help it.
That was one of the most memorable deaths in the first RoboCop when the guy gets hit by the radioactive goo tank and he starts melting and he's like, help me. He gets hit by the car and splatters.
Right.
There's a bunch of it. People got all gooey and Total Recall.
Oh, man. And it's like weird. Like one of the bums goes up is like in an apartment complex, so like saying like the city in Chicago or somewhere, you got like those steel steps you go up on the side of a brick building.
Yeah.
He's like in the middle of one of those, and he's like, yeah, I got my shit, and starts fucking drinking it, and all of a sudden it's like, what? It starts. You see, he's got a hole in his toe in his boot. It just shoots like oozing. This. Like thick yellow jelly, like shit, dude. Like jelly and cream corn and tapioca, whatever it was, dude. Like. It's so putrid, these scenes, that it's amazing. And mixed with the very fucked up shit that happens, you know, a lot of it, like I said, I will not say. But for you horror fans out there that haven't had a chance to check this movie out, fucking do it. It's a classic. Street Trash. You know, the first 10 minutes, you'll see some old 80s hairy wieners running down the steps. And also another thing I love about Joe Bob Briggs, he gives you some of the info, you know, in between the movies.
Yeah.
The only guy who fucking broke away from this movie and did something with himself, like in Hollywood or whatever, still was like a backstage guy or some shit.
He ended up being Stallone.
No, he ended up being I don't know his name. So you have to go on Shudder and watch it. But he became like a camera guy or some kind of producer. Right. And dude, he ended up working on fucking you name any huge movie of the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Or 30, you know, like The Abyss, Jurassic Park, maybe even Forrest Gump or whatever. I could be wrong about that, but I'm saying huge caliber movies, you know. And that and his first movie like was Street Trash. It's bad. Like if people thought that Dead Alive, you familiar with that?
Yep.
Peter Jackson.
Yep.
which is also a great movie. Like, I kick ass.
Got a lot of melting. Yeah.
It does have a lot of melting shit, but this street trash melting, it takes it to a new level. I like, and it's very colorful. That's one thing I liked in Evil Dead when. At the end, it was like the cream corn and like the red, and it almost looked like a skeleton from when Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
When they shot him and they turned like those weird red colors.
Yeah.
Like that. It was good shit, man.
Come for the hairy wieners, stay for the cream corn ooze.
Yeah. Ooze, child, things are gonna get greasier. And while we're on the movie kick, so I was watching John Wick 1. With the demon boy, and I think a couple of years ago, whenever it's hard to believe that movie's like 5 years old now,
4 or 5, yeah,
4 or 5,
like that, yeah.
And John Wick is now a playable skin in Fortnite, so check that out if you play that shit. I went back and watched it with him. We were I didn't want to go out to the theater this weekend. We watched the first one, and lo and behold, there's fucking Kevin Nash.
Yep.
He's like a security guy. He's a Russian again. And I'm just like, what? He wasn't too bad, too. He's like, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Wick.
yeah, that's what he says. I don't know. I had to bring it on air because it was like, holy shit, why everything goes back to wrestling.
Yeah.
Man. Like, why is Kevin Nash and John Wick? I mean, because he's too sweet.
I'd be in it.
Yeah, I would too, man. The movie ended up being fucking awesome.
That's right.
It was pretty brutal, I haven't seen the second one yet, nor the third, so I'm sure they're good.
If you like people getting shot in the face.
Yeah. In the face.
Yep.
Had to bring the street trash effects back. Street trash. Let's get into a little bit of video gaming now.
Go ahead.
You you were an NES guy, right?
I was a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. A little bit of country, a little bit of cock and balls.
Uh-huh.
What did you just admit to? What would you say was like your top 5, not even, the top 2 or 3 Nintendo games?
Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Double Dribble.
Yeah. Double Dribble.
Whatever wrestling game where Hogan, you knew it was Hogan
WrestleMania.
because of his bad posture.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be like leaning over.
Yeah.
That's 3. Castlevania.
There we go. Ding, 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 ding.
How many is that? Oh, Kung Fu. I was
yeah.
with Kung Fu.
Yeah, that's good, dude. That's real fucking good.
Yeah.
Can I get that one more
like
time?
Castlevania.
Real quick.
I messed it up.
What was it? That was fucking awesome. Joe used to rock the shit out of that game. And
I like the whip in Castlevania.
Yes.
Scroll and whip. Scroll
yeah, man.
Whip.
Castlevania was one of my fucking favorites as well, but it was also a very challenging game.
Yeah, give up.
Shout out to Konami for putting out the it's like an anniversary collection. It's on Xbox right now. You can hit me up. My gamer tag is Juicifuge. It's fucking like the first. Let's see here. You get all the NES ones. So it goes out like Castlevania, and then Simon's Quest, and then Belmont something. Castlevania 3, and then there's the Super Nintendo one, which is also awesome. The Game Boy versions, you get both the Game Boy games. There's one of them. There's a Sega and a Super Castlevania. Both of those, like Bloodline or something. They're all on there. It's so much to keep up with. And then there's like Kid Dracula, which was like I guess never released in the U.S. or something. I don't know how that really ties in.
All of them?
You get all of this, dude. Like, there's like 9 games or something like that for $20, and you get like a digital book that takes you through. It gives you all kinds of history and information on it, dude. It's super cool. It's even got all the old box art and shit on there.
Yeah.
Dude, for $20, you cannot beat it. I was playing the fuck out of some Castlevania this weekend, and there's been a lot of like imitator games and shit to come out. There's like Curse of the Blood Moon, I think it is, which is maybe it's an homage to Castlevania. It's not a bad game, but to actually get this and have it, because I just got that NES Mini not too long ago, finally. And I think that has Castlevania 1, maybe 2 on it, which are both great games. I love these things. But to have that whole fucking thing on there, dude, and be able to rip through all of these, which I'm not going to rip through any of them because they are so fucking difficult, dude. Yeah. It's just super exciting. So shout out. I wanted to send that shout out to Konami.
Is that NES Mini? Is that also the one where the cord is mini? So you got to be like a quarter, like you got to have to be like 12 inches away from your television?
Yeah, dog, but that's why I got them extensions.
I was excited when they were talking about putting those out, and then they sold out immediately.
They did. Like I said, I just got mine a month or two ago, and I found them at GameStop.
Yeah.
They had 4 or 5, and I was like, oh, so they're putting them back out. I was like, no, this was just extra they had. He's like, once those are gone, they're gone.
Yeah.
I was in there like 2 days after, I think, or maybe a week after I bought it.
I remember people loving it, but that was their biggest gripe. They're like, do you like it? I hate the controllers, or at least the length. The length.
They got you on that. You know, you had to buy the extension or get like an aftermarket one.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty cool. You know?
Yeah. Cool.
I don't know if that is, like I said, the Castlevania. I'm sure. I would think it's on PlayStation 4 as well. But fuck, dude, for $20 fucking, man, give me all those. And that's supposedly that's just like the first fucking batch. You know, because there's still a lot of games that aren't included. So I imagine they're gonna do. They did like the Mega Man collections and all that shit. But this Castlevania one is the definitive one.
Yeah.
And I think you all should go out and buy the shit. Buy it. Just fucking buy it for me.
That was so loud.
That was really loud. Sorry about that. Speaking of being loud, let me loudly tell you where you can find us every week, every day, every hour, every fucking second. Juice Pro Wrestling is on Facebook and Instagram at Juice Pro Wrestling. You can call the voicemail once again at 1-872-267-4199. Good Lord, you're going to call that number. You can find us on Twitter at JPW Podcast. We are on every podcast platform, whether you like using Stitcher, YouTube. What's another good one?
TuneIn, iHeartRadio,
Google.
Every Android app.
Spotify. iTunes. Yeah. We're all over the place. Oops, all over the place.
Your mom's podcast app. Your mama.
I might be in your mom's podcast app if you know what I'm saying. Oh, yeah. I get a little sultry with you. But yeah, check us all out there. Thank you all for listening every week and keeping up with the support. Spread the word. Share it with your friends. And let's have a good fucking time. Let's all enjoy AEW Double or Nothing this fucking weekend. Yeah, because you know they gonna wet 'em up, wet 'em up, wet 'em up, wet 'em up. Yeah. Get real, bitch. You gonna do sex to me?